Like you mentioned fraternal, and I know you want to explain what fraternal is because most people don't, right? We
No,
do, but most people don't. So would you explain
yeah,
it to us?
absolutely. And I have to give the iCover team a lot of credit in how we present this information because your founders have really stepped into using the term community insurers, right?
Mhm.
And that can mean some different things in context. Here in the states, we've got mutuals, right? Mutuals kind of fall in that community stance. You've got credit unions in the banking system that people view in this community basis, at least at their advent. And those institutions have evolved over time to work through the different advantages from regulatory and taxing perspectives, and they kind of ebb and flow over time. But fraternal benefit societies, uh, it's really Eastern United States is where fraternal benefit society started, and it's really kind of it's a disappointing start to an organization because of why they had to exist. So in the late 1800s, a lot of organizations they were started by ethnic or religious groups because they were in a point in society, and I'll just talk about ours in particular. Uh, Ours was founded, was established as the first fraternal benefit society by women, for women, and completely run by women
Mhm.
in the state of Pennsylvania. And they were practical Roman Catholic women who could not get a life insurance policy. And the reason they couldn't is because as a woman, they were not considered a primary breadwinner in their home. They were not the one that was out working, and you have to think of the industrialization at that point. This was the kind of the beginning meat and potatoes of the industrial revolution in the United States. You've got coal mines, you've got steel plants, and the guys are going to work every day in these very high risk conditions. And they're the ones who insurance carriers at the time say like this is who we're insuring, right? Because if we lose them, that's your revenue stream. But the women were saying like we're running our home, we're raising our children, we're ensuring that meals are on the table and that our communities are thriving and that we're serving in our churches and we're reaching out and helping those around us. And that's it's a terrible thing that was happening at the time because these women are saying like we're important too, right? So we need protection, we need coverage, we need to be able to do this. So they started our organization to care for each other, and that's a great foundation. And if you look through other fraternal benefit societies, especially on the ethnic side, there was ethnic groups that they were looked down on as second class citizens at that time, and it's hard to believe that in this 150-year span that we've come this far. And I think sometimes we forget the history of how we treated each other at different points, and even just this most recent history in the U.S. So ethnic societies were the same thing. If you were of a certain ethnicity, if you were a first generation immigrant from certain countries, like carriers wouldn't provide you policies. So you know what? They banded together and they created their own. And a lot of those societies are thriving today and continuously thriving. And they did other things with that too. It wasn't just trying to bring themselves up from a level that they were at, but it was really to invest in the communities that they were growing here in the states with those first generation immigrants. Right? They had programs for wellness and physical fitness, and they were really just doing this holistic management of their ethnic group, and they've stayed steeped in those traditions for all these years. And the societies that are still here, which fraternal benefit societies, again, there's been this regression that they fall off over the years. The groups get smaller, especially with the ethnic based groups. They're 4, 5, 6, 7 generations removed from coming here as a first gen immigrant, right? So that's where that struggle comes from. Now, for us at LCBA, we started off as a practical Roman Catholic women. 1960, we allowed practical Roman Catholic men, and then in 1969, we changed our bylaws and we're serving all people of Christian faith, which is it's a really big group, right? Like that's the box you check when you're filling out uh, your relationships, your ethnicity, and like there's a lot of box checking in the United States with folks that say I'm Christian. Now That doesn't say everything, right? That doesn't say where you're at on your faith walk, how you participate in either church or community in that respect. But that's where we keyed in. But to kind of round it out is what that fraternal benefit society means. So here in Pennsylvania, you've got to have three things to be a fraternal benefit society. And these laws have existed since the early 1900s. And the boxes you have to check are you've got to provide a financial product for your members. So for us, that's life insurance primarily. Okay, there's other fraternal benefit societies that focus more on annuities, more of the wealth management style products. We're a low face value, final expense life insurance carrier. So you've got to do that. You need to have a common bond. And the common bond comes from, right, the ethnic or religious ties for which these organizations were founded. And you've got, still, large organizations, Practical Roman Catholic Men, or, Lutheran organizations, or the ethnic societies that are still thriving to this day and really celebrating their heritage. So they've got that common bond. And to be a policyholder, you share that common bond, right? And then the third thing is you need to have, in what the state terms as lodges. We use the term branches, and these are groups of community members that are in the regions in which we serve with those financial products, and we feed back to them what a corporate insurance carrier would call profit. We're taking the proceeds from the sale and the management of our products, and we're feeding that back into those communities through that series of branches, and they're doing good works in their communities. And that can mean anything. That could be backpack food programs, caring for the elderly, making quilts, blankets, anything they can do, and even supporting their own churches, right, with improvement projects and activities and opportunities and picnics to bring new folks in and help them be part of that positive engagement within those regions. So those are the three things you have to do to be a fraternal benefit society. But that's a lot, right? For the commercial carriers, it's pretty binary, right? It's a consumer vendor relationship. They've got a product, they're selling a product, the consumer reaps a benefit, the policyholder reaps a benefit from that product, right? And they just cycle that in, and then it's a profit line, it's a profit center. It gives them the opportunity to grow at whatever rate they can get out of that sale. And for us, it's really a more holistic existence, right? So we're here, but we're serving, and we're the big insurance carrier, right? And we have to have that mindset. So while we're small, we're an insurance carrier. That's a pretty elite group of businesses. And at the same time, we're a ministry. These women that started our organization were there to serve each other, to serve their children, to serve their families, to serve their communities. Like, we have to keep that on our shoulder and carry it forward through the generations. And if we do our jobs, we won't just have been here 135 years, but we'll be here for 135 more. And that's the ultimate challenge at the end of the day. So it's something I'm excited to bring forward for us.